Hey, Dr. Doug Graham here, author of the 80-10-10 diet, and I want to talk about a little tip or trick. I'm actually not sure what to call this concept, but it steps back a couple layers, and so you kind of bear with me, okay? Because I want to start out, when we think of where so much of our health advice and our health, what common sense knowledge comes from, a fantastic amount of it comes from the fact that most of the people, most of the time, are following an eating plan, often referred to as the standard Western diet or the standard American diet. People like that SAD thing. And we know that there's no way that you can adjust it to make it work. We know the standard Western diet doesn't work. It doesn't work for health. It doesn't work for weight management. It doesn't work for athletic performance. It doesn't work for anything other than it's great, pleasure in the mouth, no question there. But so is practically any other diet that you could ever want to eat. I mean, if I want great pleasure in the mouth, I think of fruits, and I'm not letting go of desiring great pleasure in the mouth when I eat my food. So in the world of mathematics, great pleasure in the mouth in one diet, great pleasure in the mouth in the other diet, the fact that your food tastes good pretty much cancels each other out. That can't be the only issue. Oh, but I really like the taste. That can't be the only issue. So instead, we understand that we're working with a standard Western diet that can't possibly work, as I say, for health or for weight management, especially for specific conditions, for athletic performance. This is not the way to go. And so, but the advice comes out to those people because they're the vast majority of people are following this standard Western approach to eating, and they're eating food and they're going, what I'm doing isn't working. I need to find out something. I need a gimmick. I need something. Give me a trick. And there's lots of those tricks, and lots of people think that those are true tricks. And when they switch over to veganism or vegetarianism or macroneurotic, or even go to 80-10-10, low-fat raw vegan, and they still carry those tricks with them as if those were facts, when they're not. They were made for people who were following a diet that couldn't possibly work, to sort of be a little teeny stopgap measure that might give them something that would help, but really it still couldn't fix the problem, which was high-fat, non-vegan, it just highly processed foods. It couldn't possibly work, but here was a little, like, okay, you're $1 million in debt, I'll give you a penny, that should help. Well, no, it helps, but nowhere near enough. And if you're still landsliding deeper into debt, that penny isn't really the issue. You need to stop. We need to stop the bleeding. So in food, a lot of people think that if they want to manage their weight properly, what they need to do is they need to do some exercise, which is in fact true. We need to do more physical activity in the course of our day. We increase the calories out part of the equation, and that helps balance the calories in part of the equation. It helps. It helps a bit. If you're incredibly fit, it can help a lot, because then you can burn a lot more calories. But if you're not very fit and you can only burn a couple of hundred calories or use a couple hundred calories in activity during the course of your day, you're not making a big dent, but every little bit adds up. Okay, so be more active, and that's an important part of the equation. But the trick that's taught that doesn't work is that when we do physical activity, whether that's huff and puff type of aerobic cardio activities, or whether it's muscular endurance activities, or even if you're in the gym doing pure strength or bodybuilding activities, part of the biochemistry that your body gives you to enable that to happen to increase blood flow to the muscles so that you can give is to decrease blood flow to the digestive tract. It effectively turns off the digestive tract, and this happens hormonally. The thing about hormones is hormones are kind of slow messengers. Hormones, if you lived in Manhattan and you needed to send a message from 25th Street to 82nd Street, and you did it by bicycle messenger, that would be a hormone. If you sent a text, that would be the nervous system. It's practically immediate, but this lowering of appetite, this subduing of appetite so that we can increase blood flow from digestive tract to the muscles, this is done through hormones. And after activity, we experience a continuation of that deadening of the appetite for several hours, sometimes up to several hours, because the hormone level is high and it has to gradually just go back down and eventually exit the bloodstream. By the time it's all done, then you go, ooh, I have an appetite. But we know for fact that when you're exercising, what you're really doing is you're building up an appetite. And we use this expression with all kinds of activities. I really earned it. I built up an appetite. I'm ready to eat, da 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 da. But chemically, we're not. Right after you exercise, you're thinking about other things. You're not really thinking about, hey, I need to eat. And so there's a misnomer that what you should do is capitalize on that hour or two when you're not hungry by not eating. Well, this goes against every concept in the world of recovery from athletic activities. Even though the idea is, wow, I found a window where there's an hour or two where I'm not eating, and in my effort to lower overall calorie intake for the day, that will do the trick. Well, here's why it won't. First of all, when you finally do get hungry, you're going to be ravenously hungry. And anytime you're ravenous, your ability to discriminate kind of goes down. And so you're not going to tend to eat as well or just what you need, because you're like, your eyes are bigger than your stomach at that point and you're trying to fill an empty stomach, and it really doesn't work. You end up eating more when you finally do get hungry because you're truly ravenous, you know. At the same time, it doesn't work because we're not looking at one day. We're looking at being active over a decade, over a lifetime, over long periods of time. We're looking at being active in a way that will become part of the lifestyle. And one of the things about physical activity, like driving your car, if you drive your car a whole lot, you got to put more fuel back in. But in the case of the body, when we put more fuel back in, that fuel has to not only become digested, but it has to trickle its way back into your muscles to be stored as glycogen for your next bout of activity. And the glucose that your body consumes, or food that it converts to glucose, if you weren't actually eating fruit for some reason, that glucose has to be converted into glycogen, and that process takes a good long while. Now, immediately after exercise, you are benefiting from another hormone that you produce while you're exercising that makes it easier for you to take glucose from the blood and convert it into glycogen in the muscles. And again, that hormone level is going to be at its highest immediately when you stop exercising, and it's going to go down, back down to normal levels by the time about 2 hours have gone by. In other words, during and immediately after exercise, you can convert blood glucose into muscle glycogen at about twice the normal rate for when you're just at rest and it's been several hours after activity. So our issue isn't exercising and it isn't eating. Our issue is actually recovering from exercise through eating, the first part of the recovery process. Before we get to the resting part, we recover from our physical activity by eating in order to provide blood glucose that has somewhere to go. It's going to go to the muscles and form muscle glycogen, meaning that your blood glucose levels won't stay high, solving yet another problem. And this way, we recover more rapidly from exercise. Now, most people are taught, we shouldn't particularly over-exercise, because if you over-exercise, if you overdo it, the recovery is going to be too long. You're going to overtrain. You're going to need to take a day off. You're going to need to take 2 days off. You're going to need to take 3 days off. You're going to need to take 2 days off a week or 3 off a week. And it'll keep happening because you're overtraining, you're overdoing it. But really, in my world, what I'm thinking is most people aren't overtraining as much as they're giving themselves credit for or suffering with. What they're actually doing is they're under-recovering. The two big parts of recovery after air and water are muscle glucose and getting sufficient rest. So if there's not glucose coming into the bloodstream immediately after we exercise, this can take 3, 4, this can add 3, 4, 5, 6 hours to the time required before you've recovered sufficiently so that you can go after whatever's next or go about doing tomorrow's exercise, which is why we see a lot of people only train 4, 5, 6 days a week. Because no, I need 1 day to completely recover because I lost a few hours and then I lost a few and now I'm a full day behind. I need to take a full day off. I think, and I've shown athletes that if we recover better, if we can recover sufficiently, if we take advantage of that window of opportunity by eating fruit immediately after exercise, that you will recover so much faster that you can train pretty much any day you want, pretty much every day if you enjoy it. Do I train every single day? No, pretty much no. I only train on the days when I intend to eat. But really, I mean, some days the training is light, but there's always training because I enjoy it and because I want to get better. I'm motivated to get better. The second part, getting sufficient sleep. If you get insufficient sleep, you won't recover sufficiently from yesterday to go about today. And it will show, and eventually you'll need that day off. But the trick and the misnomer of, oh, don't eat immediately after exercise because you've deadened your appetite, it's a great time to not eat. No, it's actually a great time to eat. The big decision for people who are active is whether or not they shower and then eat or eat and then shower. That's basically it. Immediately after exercise, train yourself to eat fruit and you'll speed your recovery dramatically and be able to have a whole lot more fun day after day. This is Dr. Doug Graham reminding you to up your health.